Hi, I'm Jim Covington. Today is March 2nd, 2017. I'd like to welcome you to this week's issue of ISBA Statehouse Review. A number of bills that are floating around here that I think you might find of interest. The first is a pretty major and substantial rewrite of the Mechanics Lien Act, House Bill 2615, introduced by Representative Margot McDermott from Frankfort, and it provides that an owner, contractor, or subcontractor may not, by contract or otherwise, waive, affect, or impair any other claimant's rights unless the claimant executes and delivers a waiver and release under certain specified conditions and in conformance with a statutory form that's included in the bill. It includes some exceptions. It's modeled after the laws of Texas and Arkansas, directed or intended to protect the rights of subcontractors. That's scheduled for House Judiciary Committee March 8th, next Wednesday. The next bill amends the Abused and Neglected Child Reporting Act. It's House Bill 3288, introduced by Representative Kelly Cassidy from Chicago. And under current law, there is a long list of people who are mandated reporters under the ANCAR Act for suspicion of child abuse, that they're supposed to report that. This does away with the list and basically says any person, organization, or entity that knows or in good faith suspects a child may be an abused child or neglected child must immediately report or cause a report to be made to the Department of Children and Family Services. That's scheduled for hearing in House Human Services on March 8th. The next bill amends the child support statute, and it's House Bill 3008, introduced by Representative Hernandez from Cicero, and it defines high school for purposes of determining child support. I'm a little unclear why this is necessary, since high school is specifically defined in the school code. I don't know what case at the trial level has caused this to come up, and I'll find out more about that next week when it's scheduled for hearing in House Judiciary Committee. The next bill amends the Health Care Services Lien Act, House Bill 3386, introduced by Representative Andre Thapetti from Chicago, and it adds to the list of health care provider under the Act ambulatory surgical treatment facilities that are accredited by one of the national organizations. And that's scheduled for House Judiciary March 8th. The next bill is a name change and amends the Illinois Marriage and Dissolution of Marriage Act for the return of a spouse's maiden name. It's House Bill 2537, introduced by Representative Anna Moeller from Elgin, and it does three things. It repeals a current section in the Code of Civil Procedure governing notice by publication requirements for a petition for change of names. Then it creates in any application for a change of a minor, a certain procedure to follow where actual notice and an opportunity to be heard shall be given to any parent whose parental rights have not been terminated and any person who has been allocated parental responsibilities. And it creates a new section for giving notice to persons outside Illinois. The final thing it does is, in the Marriage Act, it provides unless the person whose marriage is dissolved or declared invalid requests otherwise, the court order must contain a provision authorizing the person to resume the use of his or her former or maiden name if she chooses to do so at any time that he or she chooses to do so. And that's scheduled for hearing in House Judiciary March 8th. The next bill amends the Residential Real Property Disclosure Act. It's House Bill 3434, introduced by Representative Keith Wheeler of North Aurora, and that provides upon signing and dating the disclosure report, the prospective buyer accepts and acknowledges that the prospective buyer has received the Residential Real Property Disclosure Report form in its entirety, including the disclosure report and a copy of the Act, and that's scheduled for House Judiciary Committee March 8th. The final bill, which is also scheduled for next Wednesday in House Judiciary, amends the presumptively void transfers article of the Probate Act of 1975. It's House Bill 2716, introduced by Representative Chris Welch from Westchester. There have been a number of complaints about this presumptively void transfer article since its enactment 2 or 3 years ago, and this appears to me to be an effort to address some of those concerns. And it is scheduled for House Judiciary Committee March 8th. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.